Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, good
Hello again.
morning.
Hey, good
Good day
morning.
to you both. Good day to you both.
Hi. Can you hear us just fine?
I can. Do you hear me clearly?
Yep,
We hear you
absolutely.
very, very well.
Okay,
So,
good, 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 good.
thank you so much for your time. Joining us today is Vivian. She's my
Hi,
wife.
Terry.
Yes, and she's very intrigued to meet you and join this conversation. So I invited her to come, and together we will, facilitate this meeting together. All right.
Yes, that's fine.
How's
So,
your
how
day?
can I
How's your
help
day
you?
so far?
It's fine. It's middle of the morning. We're ready to up and rolling. Of course, like you, I'm global. So, Tuesday morning, my day started at 2 a.m. Today it's after 7. So, it is what it is. So, how can I help you two?
Um, okay, let me do the introduction. Just for the background, this since July of last year, our country got hit badly by COVID-19, and so one of the things that concerned me was a lot of business leaders in here stay quiet and they focus on make improvement on their business instead of and letting the people worry and then quietly. So what we did was we launched the Inside Sharing show where we invite amazing people, inside the country, outside the country, to come and share their expertise, share their life stories. And we believe that good story will help people go through tough time, be easier, and it's good for them to listen to real people, to real stories, so that they can be motivated, be inspired, and to make actions, to make progress. And so that's eventually I got a lot of people joining in, and then eventually I met you, Terry, and so I text, I share with you on LinkedIn. I really admire what you do, and I think that is always benefiting for us all to hear of your story. How's everything starting from the beginning, and when you were at university and you got out, you worked for the U.S. Navy, U.S. Navy, right? And then we would want to know what's the turning point that makes you start to do all of these amazing things, writing the books, and have a lot of ideas in life that can change people. So that's what we want to achieve of this talk today. All right. Sounds okay to
Okay.
you?
You
All
have about
righty.
6 hours.
uh, Vivian, we cannot see you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna turn off some fans so it's easier. Yeah, otherwise there'll be some background noise from my side.
Sure. Terry, well, we will record this conversation and then we will send you a copy of that beforehand. So, and then if you decide it is a good one to go, then we will we will publish it in about 3 to 4 weeks' time. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you have any questions for us before we start the whole talk?
No, not really. What's your audience?
I'm sorry.
What is your audience? Who's this go to? Uh, so I can refer in the back of my mind kind of who I'm talking to as I respond to your questions.
A lot of my audience are business leaders in Vietnam. So they're as a senior executives, but also another big chunk of my audience, the people from the 25 years old up into the 35 years old. So they're starting their career, and they are starting looking for a directions in their life, making changes. So that those are the two biggest segmentation of my clients.
Okay, sure. That's about it. This is interview about 440 or something like that. So I think we can flow real smoothly.
All righty. Vivian, please start first of the end, okay?
Okay, so we are ready? Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Hi, good morning. Today, our speaker is well known for his global expertise in profiling and the author of the new book, Profiling for Profit. and he also the chairman of the Evolutionary Healer, which is the international performance improvement company. We are very honored to have you here with us today. So please, may I introduce you to Mr. Terry Earthwind Nicole. Yeah. Hi, Terry. Hi. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for having me on the show as well. So the first questions, a little bit to get familiar with you. Can you share a bit about yourself to the audience here and your career into this expert field of profiling?
Well, like some of you who may be listening today, who come from or live in mountains, various places of the world. The Western Rocky Mountains of the United States is where I was born and raised through high school. After high school, I joined the U.S. Navy, and I served for 20 years and saw most of the world, had most delightful experiences. And let's see, a couple of degrees from college in marketing, and back late last century, it was called personnel management. It's now resource management or something like that. And so after my Navy time, I didn't know who I was, so I just started taking jobs in different industries, and turned out to be this almost diaspora of this plenty of jobs and experience has really created the opportunity for me to now, you mentioned profiling for profit, which I'm a lifelong people watcher. So I started observing certain things people did unconsciously with their heads and movement of their bodies and things like that when they were stressed positively and negatively, and started making those observations. And after about 35 years, I wrote the book, Profiling for Profit, What Crossed Arms Don't Tell You. And, we generally know that if we're not buying something, we usually cross our arms and get stern, and that doesn't mean anything. That is a learned response. But subconsciously, if I'm listening to you and I dip my head to my left like I'm doing right now, I am not only understanding you, but I'm receiving you, and I'm holding you in a good place subconsciously. And so when you're talking to someone, like I'm talking to both of you right now with your heads tilted slightly to the left and you don't even know it, you trust me, you're listening to what I'm saying, and we're having this forthright, open conversation. There's a lot more to it in the book, and it's a short book. I like to say I write airplane books, about an hour and a half worth of reading, and you're done. And so that's where Profiling for Profit came from. Just this week, I launched my 8th book, which is Consortium, Business Model for the 21st Century, where we change the business dynamic and the business model upside down, basically. We focus on the people in our companies, not the bottom line and the timelines and the goals and those kinds of things. And Sir Richard Branson puts it so nicely: take care of your people, they'll take care of your customers. So that concept is really centric to what we're talking about. So being people-centric in your company and using achievement milestones towards the achievement of a vision is much more powerful, and a whole lot less problems with people. I'll let you two think of a time, as I am right now, about achieving something really great, how good you felt and exciting it was, and you wanted to do it again. Perhaps you achieved something with a group or a soccer team or anything like that, and the group was ready to do it again. Well, how'd you like to do that in your company? Here's what I found out over the years. When you have a company full of people and groups of people who are regularly achieving, the following observations are consistent. They are healthier, The sick time is reduced to minuscule. So they don't burn out and they don't leave the company. You're not going to leave this fabulous group of people you're having so much fun with and go somewhere else for anything, basically. There's some exceptions, certainly. But the basic rule is that it also gives opportunities for not so good leaders, let's say, to become really good leaders, because they don't have to perform every day in a role they're not comfortable with within their own persona. And so if everybody's getting along on a one-on-one basis, the leader of the company's door is open all the time. You walk up, you knock on, ask for permission to come in. And if it's no, no worries. If it's yes, you come right in and respectfully have your conversation with your boss. You know, you just don't walk in, hey, I want to talk to you. And they're on the phone and they're looking at you like, what are you doing? You know, those are really good examples of the new consortium business model. And, you know, you mentioned we have a company, my wife and I started our company 10 years ago, this coming May. And we were a mom and pop operation, just the two of us, husband and wife. And we work with health and wellness professionals to help transform themselves and their business into successful people. And that metamorphosized, you know, it just kept blossoming and kept blossoming. That model 10 years ago doesn't even exist anymore. We have 4 divisions. Our company is global. We're on 6 continents, 17 countries, 27 US states. I have 48 practitioners all over the world. We do business in 6 languages. And everybody's happy. We're real wide, but we're not real tall. And we work out of our homes, right? Why have an office building when all of the people that are key to our, you know, like our accounting people, they're in their own place. You know, our operations person, she's out of her home in Canada. So it's, you know, it's just, it works and it fits. It's the 21st century. You know, we don't have to have this mega building. All right. It works for us. All right. Now, if we have 280,000 employees, everybody working at home may not have the same dynamic. However, the principle of achievement and achieving a vision that you have set yourself for in the future. Here's the best example of what I say, how to use a vision strategy. You create this vision that's on the horizon ahead of you. And as you go towards it, the horizon keeps going. You never get to the horizon, okay? You get to presence wherever you are, but you never get to the horizon. But here's one thing, you have to get a roadmap put together so that you can achieve ultimately your vision. And we know if you were going from your home right now in Vietnam to grandma's, you know, a few hundred kilometers away, you're going to stop for gas, and the kids are going to need the restroom, and somebody's going to need to eat. You just don't have a timeline for all of that. You're not going to do 1 hour and 22 minutes from now, I'm going to stop and get some gas. You don't do that. When it's time to get gas, you get the gas. So it's a task towards the achievement of getting to grandma's house. So a company can use those same pretexts that if you don't have goals and timelines constantly hanging over your head, there's none there to miss. There's none to be responsible for, because when people are working hard and achieving and they're happy, they do more than what's expected. They achieve greater sales levels. All of those kinds of things happen. And how you're in sales, you know, when everybody's happy, things are clicking, money's coming in, right? So yes. The same thing is true in business as it is taken off to grandmother's house. So when you're done with getting the gas, you go, yay, we're done with the gas. Now we have enough gas to get to our vision or grandmother's house. So everybody says that was fabulous, right? Well, what happens if there's construction and or a traffic accident where you're held up? All right. You just sit there and wait it out. Okay. You haven't lost anything because you're not relating to time. You're relating to the ultimate vision of getting to grandma's house. So if a COVID comes along in your company, you just, instead of closing everything, you get groups together in different divisions. Banks are really good because banks have branches, right? You first make sure everybody's happy, and then they're safe, and then you get them together remotely, or if it's possible to go into your bank branch and get together. Okay, COVID's here, or the next pandemic, and there's going to be more. What are we going to do? Our corporate says that our office is not as efficient as it should be. So rather than try to make the office more efficient, maybe we have a lot of people because of the COVID going to lose their houses. Maybe we retrain everybody in that bank branch to become mortgage service officers and help their community stay in their homes and not have to close that bank branch forever. Okay, the old business model is just close it, write it off, let the tax accountants figure it out. Now it's being responsible for your community. And when you're responsible for your community, you don't think about closing and write-offs and losing that talent that your company has spent a lot of time, energy, and money on to get them to where they are. And then all of a sudden you let them go. There's something wrong with that picture, right? So they're free to go anytime they want if they want, but why get rid of them? Figure out a way to keep them. How about this one? Mortgage services will help people in the community keep in their houses and help you save some mortgages for your company. But what if mortgage services wasn't a good idea for that bank branch? Maybe that bank branch getting together as a team, as their own little community, and they figure out a new business model for that branch that drives new revenue. Why do you want to close a bank branch if it's driving a new revenue stream? Not the best idea, but you're going to be open to it. Your stakeholders, your all of your shareholders, they understand up and down, and they're going to stay with you during the downs because they know you have a vision, and those stocks are going to come back up. So these are the different things that I'm doing right now and speaking internationally along these same lines. Although COVID has kept me from that for a while, except for here on the internet, and I've keynoted the last couple of years, and so the 2022 is looking good. That I'm going to be able to get up on stage again. That's where I'm at my best, is in front of people, so that profiling for profit knowledge comes to real. Because I'll tell you, I can have a scripted speech in front of me, even on a teleprompter, and I won't read that whole thing. I'll read everybody what they're doing and what they're understanding in the audience through my presentation, and that's where I will go. Okay, I've never finished a planned speech since I left college, so and I'm best that way, ad-libbing. Reading responses in real time of people is very, very nice. And it's not the same thing as reading body language. Body language, for the most part, people learn how to cross their legs in a certain way so they don't disrespect somebody from another country, all of those kinds of things. Those are all body languages. But subliminal muscle movement, unconscious muscle movement, tells you in real time whether the people you're talking to are getting your message. And to give them permission to enjoy the thing, you infuse one single question, but you ask it many, 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 many times. It's simply, Does that make sense? Now, it's a nice simple. 97% of the time, a person is going to respond yes. The other 3% of the time, they don't understand, or they have a question, or they just don't want to respond. Here's the key to it, though. When they do respond with the yes, and it's your responsibility as the messenger to get them to say yes out loud, so their human ears hear their voice say the word yes. So that at the end of the presentation, if you're doing a sales spec, if you're ready for the upsell, you're ready to show them what you're here to sell them, they have permission and they've heard their voice say yes many times before they consciously make a decision to say yes to your product or service. So that, does that make sense? Is a pretty powerful little question.
Yes, Terry, we will get back to the consortium at a later time. Okay. But I'm really intrigued to understand what happened in 2019, because a lot of your books coming from that period of time, including the pre-works for the consortium also. What was the trigger points for that period, though?
Well, the fall of 2019 was quite interesting because I was spending time thinking about the consortium model and creating the theory behind it, with the idea that in 2021 or 2022, I'd have a book that I could then send out. The book is designed not to be a bestseller, best-selling book. It is a marketing piece. The book sells the concept of the consortium model so that corporate heads can then contact me and my company to contract with them to help them create that model and work with them for 3 years. All right. So you may have noticed on my LinkedIn profile, for instance, the banner photo is I'm number 17 of the top 50 marketing influencers to follow in 2022. I'm always thinking about different ways to market and do different things like that. So in 2019, my partner, my wife, and I are looking at expanding the coaching and consulting division. We have 4 divisions. She runs one. She's come up with an ingenious way of helping people write a book in 30 days and self-publish it through Amazon. And so she stays very busy with that. She's written 22 books, 23 books now, a lot of books. And so how is that with what I'm doing with Profiling for Profit, which had just came out, and those kinds of things? And I was getting ready to arrange for some book selling trips for the Profiling for Profit when COVID hit. And so then I started watching exactly what I was talking about in my theory for consortium happen in real time. Okay, the bank closings and all of that, and layoffs, entire divisions closed and laid off. That's traumatic. And so I would say also the fact we hadn't talked about this yet. I am a United Nations Peace Ambassador at large. So I have the title of His Excellency Ambassador, actually. And that's on my profile too. That certification and my shield and ID and all those kinds of things for when I travel came to me in 2019. So there was a lot of shift about what's going on in those days. Right. So I hope that answered your question, Hawk.
Yes, that answered my question. Terry, I on your profile, I also read one quote is very interesting, and it says that we are born with already established personality, right? Yes, and by the time that as we age, then we become witness to different kind of things that stimulate our the way we look, the way we act, and it also shape the way that we change our personality. Or is that or can so it means that we are our personality fit, or is that changing over time in your opinion, Terry?
Well, the exact quote is we are born with an already established personality. And as we age, we become witness to various stimuli that affects the way we will act and react in this life. So in other words, if you're constantly being reinforced by your family to not like certain kinds of people or anything like that, that becomes part of your life. And you can always change that, but it's very difficult because it's implanted early. Okay, it's like a bird who the first thing that they see is usually their mother, and they implant on that. Well, what if the first thing they see is a human? Well, then that becomes mother. All right. Now, how we act and react in the world is still our choices. Unfortunately, society for a very long time, hundreds of years probably, loves to keep us picking at each other. So what does that mean? So if here's a good example. There are no good choices. There are no bad choices. There's simply choices. And we as human beings can change our mind anytime. Okay. So if we take off the stress of answering our own question of, is this a good choice or a bad choice? Oh, I don't know if this is going to be a bad choice. There's no such thing. It's not good or bad. It just is a choice. And when you're present with the choice, making good decisions based on the information you have at the time, odds are that those choices are going to be in your favor, not good or bad, in your favor a lot more than they were in the past. Because bad stress and good stress is basically the same thing in your body. We hold on to bad stress much longer than we hold on to good stress. Therefore, when you're in that stress state for a longer period of time, it starts breaking the body down. Does that make sense? Right? And you both said yes.
Yes.
The 2%.
The secret question. Yeah. So once we understand that when I make a decision based on what information I have at the moment, I feel comfortable that the decision is what I want with the right kind of outcome. Now, if things change, I get more information that made that decision not the outcome that I'm going to do. Now I get to do one of two things. I either continue on my way or I change it. Okay. And that is my choice, not the outer world's. So acting and reacting in the world becomes a matter of being in yourself. What is best for myself? And that's not being selfish. That's being aware of yourself. For instance, in America, you'll notice my name is Earthwind. That is Chickamauga Cherokee for Gado Onule, his breath across the earth. In Native American culture and a lot of cultures, they have a basic saying: you cannot give what you do not have. So, in other words, if you don't love yourself, then you're probably not going to love your wife. You're probably not going to give out a lot of love, and therefore you're not going to get love back, which is going to make it worse, right? However, if you can switch that paradigm to loving yourself first, what's good for me first, like on the airplane when the oxygen masks come out, put yours on first, then help people. Otherwise, everybody's going to be helped and you're dead. Not a good idea. So take care of yourself first. That's not being selfish. And let's say I have love for myself, And Vivian, I give you love. That's one. And then Ha, I give you a one. That's two. And both of you give me love back. I get double what I just gave. So now you spread that out and it exponentially starts coming in large amounts. Well, that basis was happening in 2019, just before the COVID was going on. And I was looking at making the consortium model and creating the division in the company. So it's kind of a long response to Ha's question, but that's where we got there.
But Terry, I think that people have it, I think most of us want to love ourselves so that we can give love to others, right? But we are living in the world with a lot of things that make us be independent. I'm dependent on my job, I'm dependent on my family, I'm dependent on my community, I'm dependent on, your advice is also, Terry. So things like that make me becoming, less of the ability to be freely living the way that I want to live my life, right?
Right.
And so because you are famously saying that, how can you help me to start having the love for myself? How you can love and help Vivian to have her own self love before she can give it to the community, give to others. So.
Mhm. Another one of my quotes is, presence is the point where manifestation becomes action. To manifest, to make light, to see. Okay. When we have a lot of turmoil as a result of past experiences making us worry, and we're not focused on the kids and the job and everything, like you say, Ha, right? And we're worried about what that's going to mean in the future. Am I going to get fired? And what's happening to me? Am I going to lose my family? Is my health going bad? But once you get to presence has nothing to do with the past, and it has nothing to do with the front or future. It's present. When you hit present, the stress level goes boom. Okay. And what the answer that you're searching for starts to come to light, starts to be worked through, or it comes right out of you. Like, I know what to do. I'm there. Boom. I'm ready to go. I'm going to be a great dad again. Whatever it is that was destroying us, because bad stress brings us down, good stress brings us up. Okay. And they're the same amount of stress and electricity going through the body, whether it's good or bad. But if you remove both the future and the past from the equation, all you have is now. And when you're now, you're fully clear to think and understand and receive the message you're looking for. Okay. So presence is the point where manifestation becomes action.
So that leads to the consortium model, right? Like you say earlier, if Vivian and I are on the way and driving to our grandma's home, and all we have is the present at the moment, and then we know the vision is where we're heading is the grandma's home. Am I correct?
Right.
Yes, but Terry, my over the years that I'm working for, I've been servicing for organizations. Vision is something seems fancy to a lot of people, because maybe my boss, the one on top may have the drive the vision, have the vision, but then that's cascade out to even regional, or at the country level. Maybe we only have goals of what we need to be doing, and instead of knowing what is that the company is heading, how can we, and how can leader cascade out the vision out for the people, knowing and becoming achievers, enjoy the achieving though.
Well, unlike a goal to be the top company in your industry, a vision is to be the best in our industry. Okay. The result will put you on top. The vision is to be the best. not associating it with money goals and timelines, right? I kid my my accountant. I tell her I leave the timelines up to you. You got to file the taxes at the right time, or we're in trouble. You have timelines. I don't. Okay. And when that mindset of it's not about have to get it done today, all right? When you shift your mindset from a have to a get to mindset, here's a great example. Tomorrow morning, I have to get up by 6:15 so that I can hopefully get the kids fed and to the school bus on time so that I can get in the car and hopefully get through the traffic and get to work because I have one of the biggest presentations of my career tomorrow. That's have to, okay? And there's a lot of stress involved in that. Anything can go wrong. Now, here's get to. Tomorrow, I get to get up by about 6 o'clock, about half an hour before my alarm goes off. And I'm going to get the kids up and I'm going to play with them for a little bit so that they're in a good mood and happy and they get dressed and they eat their breakfast like they're supposed to. And I get out and on my way to work early so that if there is any slowdowns, big deal. I'm fine because I'm not stressed out. And then I'm going to get to work and I am going to give the presentation of my life. You see the difference in that? Have to versus
Absolutely.
Get to. And when people are working with, I get to do this, and there are no bad choices, there are no good choices, simply choices based on my intelligent understanding of a situation at that moment. Then there's no blame and shame on me if things don't turn out like they're supposed to, because I made a conscious decision to do or not to do something. And it changed, so we change. All right. So what happens if it doesn't change and it's the best thing in your life? Not a bad deal either. But you get to do whatever you do, and you choose to do something. You don't have to do anything. You know, the only thing you really are locked into is breathing. If you think about it, you can't stop breathing, and you can't economize breathing. It just doesn't work. However, I choose to be the person I am today, because the person I am today is not the person I was yesterday. And if I did everything that I believe I did yesterday in my best interest to serve my world, I am a better person today. And here's the key. I get to do it again tomorrow. Okay. That's power. That's self-power. Okay. So yeah.
Terry, isn't it true that every one of us want to have to be into the get to instead of into the have to, though? But then every day that we have a lot of things in our back, sometimes is weighing us down and forgetting to become a get to person, but become a have to person. Okay. And then for business leaders, they have a lot of things on their backs, and that's, I think that if they don't have a commitment, if they don't have the accountability to themselves to make them, always on the get to and to drive the organization, the people there, they might easily fall back into the have to and make the people following them in the have to mindset also. So in the consortium model, how do you suggest or make leaders, go into the get to and drive the organization in that direction, though?
Starts from the top. Also remember, we are emotional units. Okay. We have ups and downs every day. And there are going to be days where everything's just yesterday for me. Everything electronic was not working for me yesterday. And that was a bad day. I have to do this, have to do that kind of attitude. But then it's about, wait a minute, you teach this stuff. Just be present for a moment. I'm okay. I'm healthy. Family's healthy. I'm okay. All right. So what do I want to do that's not electronic right now? So I did some other work. I made use of and changed the mindset. I was upset for a while. I got Irish blood in it. I can get upset. And then it was like, oh no, you teach this stuff. People look up to you. People follow you. And you get to knock this off. Get to knock it off. So stop, go take a walk, grab my dog, take a walk, shake it off, walk it off. Come back, sit down. At that instant, no matter what's going on, you became present before you allowed anything else to come in. At that point of presence, then you go, oh, I know what I could be doing. And you're off and running. And all of the stuff just stops. Still there, but it just stops. My LinkedIn profile was giving me fits yesterday, and that's where I do a lot of my business, or just LinkedIn, period. Because I'm big on analytics. Successful people are, okay? Am I putting my time where it's best suited for my target market, right? And that was not available to me. It was driving me crazy. My phone wasn't working real well, etc. So went and walk, sit down, and for that moment of presence, I went, oh, I have this coming up. I'll just work on this for a while. And in that time, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever I was doing, that I was working on that, whatever was wrong with LinkedIn fixed itself. So the world just came on and just everything's fine now. And I adjusted. Now, we as leaders, if we can get to presence for ourselves, we show that presence to everyone else, okay? And bad behavior is just as habit forming as good behavior. So somebody who has a lot of bad behavior, people are going to watch him for a while when they switch to good behavior because they're not sure what they're doing. Because there's no trust there. But and when they do that, that's even better than immediate trust, because they start to duplicate what that person is doing in good behavior. Okay. And it doesn't take that long for an environment to shift from a toxic environment to a good environment. And usually what happens in a toxic environment company, per se, is you're not making your goals. You have, the end of month quotas coming at you and all that stuff. That's where good people start lying and they start doing bad things and stealing money and doing all the rest of that stuff. Those are learned responses to stressors. If they live and work in a company that does not create an environment for that type of stressor, then they're not making the bad decisions. They're not making decisions that are not productive to themselves and their community. Does that make sense?
I see. But it's really.
So, yeah.
Vivian, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like I take a bit of learn away from you. I myself got a bit of the anxiety. So it seemed like slowing down, think a little bit more, kind of help you to be present and kind of solved it. Yeah, thanks for the lesson today. I learned something new. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Terry,
Very nice. Thank you, Vivian. Yes, Howard.
Terry, over the years that you said that you really enjoy observing people actions, right? People behavior, people actions, and what's that teaching you about life? If you keep watching people over and over and over and see how they react, how they act, what would be the benefits for that? And I'll give you why I ask that questions later. Okay.
Okay. Being a people watcher, especially in the Navy overseas, when my ship would pull into a port in a foreign nation, and I would get off and go on the tour bus and learn about the place and make some friendships. And then later you would see me sitting at roadside cafes outside, sipping my cappuccinos. I love them. And just watching people. And you know what? I found one consistent thing. We're all the same. We all have good days. We all have bad days. We all argue with our girlfriend. We scream at our boyfriend. That's life. And what has happened over the millennia is those in power, related to money, usually the more money you have, the more power you have, they love to keep the masses in that behavior because they cannot organize against their power. Well, we're more enlightened than we've ever been. I don't know if you can see my phone, but the youth of today have all the power in the world. They're more powerful than the governments. They're more powerful than anything because they determine who their politicians are going to be to represent them. And if they put somebody in office that turns out to be one of those other choices, they kick them out and they get somebody else. And when a company, or like what's going on in Russia right now, when you take away their money, you take away their power. You know, I don't care how many tanks you got. If you don't have any gas to drive them with, you don't have anything. You don't have power. Yeah. Okay. Currency is the control mechanism of the masses. Okay, even the ultra rich billionaires out there, it's all about currency. You take away their revenue flows, and eventually they're going to be out of money. The great mega giant corporations, really good example. I read about a theory that I do believe in a number of years ago, where if no one bought petrol for 24 hours around the world, the entire economic world would just crash. The whole monetary system would completely crash because it is so sensitive to hour by hour fluctuations that the simple thing of not buying gas for one day would crash the entire economic network. And it would crash governments, major corporations, everything would just, boom, be down. And that's a simple thing. It's a pretty big scale, but it's still a simple thing. So if, let's say, I hate to pick on, let's pick on BP petrol, oil. Nobody buys BP for anywhere in the world for 24 hours. They're out of business.
They're gone.
Right? Economic sanctions against Russia and things like that, they're taking away their money. I read just yesterday that the largest private yacht in the world is owned by an oligarch in Russia. They recalled the yacht. He no longer owns his yacht. They taken Russia out of the SWIFT banking system, financial transfer system, is huge. Okay. That means that they've got to go back to the old ways of doing things. They've got to find somebody outside of Russia that'll run their money for them. Those are serious stuff. Okay. And Russia's not a fun place to have a protest. They'll throw you in jail. However, the first day of the invasion into Ukraine, there was over 150,000 people on a main street in Moscow somewhere protesting. Did they arrest them all? Not a chance. Might have picked up a few, but that's the power of masses. And so we don't have to have wars anymore. We have a much more powerful
Control.
weapon of choice or controller. I hate to say weapon, controller, and that's current. That's currency, and the vote. And you can vote. You can be in a non democratic society where you have no vote. You're voting with your money. You don't support certain groups. They don't have any money to support the leadership that they're paying off in government. Things will change.
So Terry, that leads to my that can be lead to my last question for this talks today. Unless Vivian has another question or so. This month, our activities are dedicated for one topic, which is influencing, because we believe that we always have a lot of power in our ability to influence ourselves and the people around us. But so you've been in the world doing a lot of things that influence a lot of people, business leaders out there. How can you teach us to start building our ability to influence others? How can we start?
Right here, right now. You're
Right here,
influencing
right now.
a lot of people. And you will influence a whole lot more people if you're the example. And it's helping people. Genuinely helping people that cannot help return the favor. All right. Putting out small posts on social media and that kind of stuff, that it's valid information. It's just not throwing words out. That's valid information. You start to be recognized as somebody that to listen to, who has good ideas, who lives a good life, and above all is human. We have our bad days, we have our good days. That's life. That's just the way it is. Okay.
Live in the present, right?
Yeah. At your age, I was a whole lot different than I am at my age at 69. I'm glad to wake up. Okay. You're glad to get up and go do something. I'm glad to wake up so I have the opportunity to do it. I'm just teasing with that regard. But influence, considered good or bad, really doesn't have a difference. Whatever is in your mindset, when you talk to people, you have a message for them. And it may not be for them directly, like the conversation with you and Vivian right now. I'm sending a message to people that are going to see this recording. I'm also sending a message to the people that you talk to regularly, or the people that are out there that are my target market may listen to this. But there's two other categories. There's three categories. Target market, the person who works for your target market. And here's a big one, as powerful. The person who goes to soccer on Sundays with the person who's my target market. That increases your reach significantly. And when you talk and write content and articles and things like that, you're talking with the person in mind that you want is your ideal client. People that don't get you. So don't worry about it. The people that fall in those three categories do get you, and they talk to each other. Way back when I was selling custom clothes, the end of last century. I love saying that; it's fun. My best custom clothing customer was the uncle of a kid who used to wash my car in one of my best customers' parking garage. You go in there as a guest of the top floor of this worldwide organization. They would park the car for you, and while you were upstairs, they'd wash it. So in the ugly rain and mud and snow of winter in Minnesota, that was a really nice thing. Well, one day I got up there, and I was only up there for a little while, and I came back down, and Petey was not finished. And he was very apologetic. I said, I got plenty of time. Just go ahead, finish up, and don't worry about it. And while he was doing that, he says, you're always really looking nice. And what is it that you do? Because you don't never upstairs for very long. And so I explained to that young man washing my car, who's probably never ever going to buy a custom suit. I explained to him in the same detail that I explained to those executives on the top floor what I do and how I do it. And he said, if you don't mind, can I have your business card? Because I think my uncle would really like to talk to you. I go, sure. So I gave him my business card. The following week, I get a phone call in the middle of the morning from this guy, his uncle. That weekend, he went and had Sunday dinner at his uncle's house. And his uncle was the executive vice president for Wells Fargo Bank Midwest. And let's say his ability to go into a fine place and buy a suit was very limited because of his fitting problems. And the fact that I could go to his office and do the measurements, pick out some stuff and create what he wants when he wants it was amazing to him. He became my best client. My best custom clothing client come from Petey, the guy who was washing my car. Now, if taking it back to that day, that morning to washing the car, and I was a jerk, I was a bad person, well, hurry up, I gotta go. And he would, right? But that would have been the end of the conversation. Wow. My best client came from Petey washing a car. So we have a message for people. Petey became the messenger, right? So it's about sending a message out to the people you want to talk to.
Sure. Thank you so much for that powerful message, Terry. Because if you don't, at that moment, and then you decided to be on a hurry and left, Petey, right? His name's Petey. Well,
Petey,
maybe, you have less influence on the people around you. That one individual one, right? And that could lead into multiple more people that you be maybe, miss on being influencing on them. So, Terry, tonight we really thank you for you and for Linda to tell her that we're sorry that we take 1 hour of you away from her. All right. And then we really appreciate your time coming, sharing your stories, sharing your expertise, and show us how we can be influential on the life of others, people around us. We really appreciate it. And if one day you ever travel to our country, you and Linda travel here, please let us know. Vivian and I will be so happy to, welcome you to our country and take you guys around.
Wonderful. Right? Wonderful. I just wanted to mention one other thing. I always say, if you can be anything, be kind.
Yes.
And take no grief. Be you, right? Here's one thing that what I didn't mention before that I want to make sure that people understand that are listening to this. I not only made Petey's day, I validated him as a human being.
Yes.
Okay. That is power. And huge influence. Okay. Years later, he'd probably referring people to me. I was out of the business then, but you just everybody's people. They all deserve to be respected. Okay. And they'll give it back to you. And thank you guys for inviting me to this. This was fun.
Thank you very much. It was super fun for us. A lot of things for us to learn, a lot of things for us to reflect, change, learn, unlearn, and relearn. So thank you very much, Terry. You have a beautiful day there, right?
Oh, yes. You guys have a great evening. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you very much.
Bye,
thank you,
Terry.
Vivian.